Mac and big sister Robin in studio today. Let's get dangerous.
Oh.
Another edition of the Outlaw Blitz. And
Okay.
listen, I appreciate you coming on. Kind of a last minute thing, you know. I'm
Yeah, I was
scrambling week
surprised.
to week with Highland not being in action right now, so I'm like, you know, it's one of those things. Like I had time, but I like to keep them out a week ahead just in case
Right.
things happen. So
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what? We have some crazy conversations at times. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this would be a
I
good
was like, yeah.
platform to do it.
Mhm.
So, were you nervous about coming on at all?
I wasn't until today.
And then you get here and you're like,
Actually, I pulled out behind you, right by Price Chopper.
oh, okay.
I was coming down.
Yeah.
But you were a little bit ahead. I'm like, oh, it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then once you get in here, and then like I said, the first minute to five, you're kind of like, cameras are out of the way. We're just talking to each other, and it just goes away, you know.
Mhm.
So what's your summer been like? What you been up to? What are you doing?
We actually just got back from camping trip.
Yeah, it looked beautiful wherever you were.
Nice.
Where were you at?
In Clayton, New York.
Okay.
Up by Alexander Bay.
Oh, up there.
Up there.
You're up by Jern.
Yes.
Jern's
I
literally
actually
like
texted her.
right next to you.
Yeah. But our schedules just didn't meet
Right.
up. And we were only up there for 3 days. Did a lot of boat, going out on the boat.
You got some good sunset pictures.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
The water up there is gorgeous. The homes. We saw a lot of Canadian side up there. Their homes are millions of dollars. Gorgeous.
Alexandria Bay.
One little island with a house. That's where I wanted to live. Yeah. You drive your boat in. Yeah.
And then you're in.
You're the. Yeah. You don't want anybody there. Off my island.
Yeah.
It's my island. Yeah. It was beautiful. We're going up to the Adirondacks the end of September.
Oh, that'll be
So we're
nice.
just starting our vacation time now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Jay works. He's like a handyman. He works all summer, so probably the downtime is the fall.
Yep.
Everybody's going back to school.
Yes.
Things are going on. You got to see the grandkids.
Oh, gotta love
because
them.
one day all of a sudden I had 3,000 TikToks from Chase. So.
Oh yeah. Grandma, Nana, let me see your phone. Let me see your phone. Let me try this filter. I didn't know every time he did that he was actually posting them.
Yeah.
I thought he was just trying them out.
Yeah. One day I just get up. I'm like, Jesus, how many TikToks? Why is she posting TikTok? And then Chase, la 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 la, with the Snow White thing going.
I'm a banana.
Yeah. It was funny stuff. So I mean, they're getting big. He's going to what, second grade? First grade. And Layla's still in preschool, but she'll start kindergarten next year. Yep. Yeah. They grow like weeds, you know.
Shoot. Yeah, really quick. I was just looking at his little baby pictures on my old phone.
Yeah.
Like little videos.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Stumbling around, couldn't even walk. Yeah, now look at him.
Yeah. And he just turned 6, right? Yeah. So.
And he loves doing art. Anything artistic. Just like his nana, he said.
Yeah. So when you have him, do you do like a lot of coloring books and things like that with him?
We do a lot of painting. He loves playing with Play-Doh, mold and stuff. What else does he do? A lot of coloring. A lot of markers, colors, everything.
And what's his sister do? Just
she actually plays. She plays with dolls.
Yep.
Until she gets a little annoyed. Nobody's paying attention to her yet. Then everything's flying on the floor.
I can imagine her just coming up and wiping all Chase's stuff off the table.
Oh, she does. He built little, Play-Doh people.
Yeah.
Oh, Nana, As soon as she went over, bam, slammed right down, smushed it. His pencils, she'll throw them across the room because he told her to put the cap back on markers.
Right.
They'll dry out. Whoosh, the whole box, like 900 pencils went all over.
Yeah.
His Legos. Yeah.
Is he a Lego? I was wondering that because with that kind of a mind, you're into building Legos. And does he have a favorite one that he likes to build? Or I know he's big into race cars.
He's into the cars and like garages where they can go in.
They can go in the garage or like the old car wash or something.
Yeah, or they're going shopping to the school. They're always going somewhere. Yeah. He'll build the buildings of Walmart. We're going to go to Walmart.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. So he's got like a very creative mind.
Yes.
And he's not really a sports kid, so to speak. Like he does them, but he doesn't. He's not like a team. He's more into like fishing, racing. He's into that like solo kind of sport world.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, so how much different is it being a grandma than being a mom?
Way different.
Because you can wind them up and send them home.
Oh my God, yes. Yes, but you get tired way faster.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
I'm older than they're running in circles. Yeah.
Yeah, you have more patience, but you get, it's more tiring. I don't know. They could do anything. I don't. It's you can't even explain the love you have for them. It's different than your own kids. Yeah, totally different. Yeah. I don't know, because they can. I don't know. They came from something that you created.
Do that. Leave them alone. Meanwhile, if it was your own kid, you would have smacked the shit out of him 50 times.
Yes. Yeah, I don't let them cry. No, like, no, crying. No, yeah, you want this? Yeah, sure. Nana will get up and down, up and down, whatever you want. Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, it always seems like you appreciate your time with them, and like you enjoy. Have you ever gone on a camping trip or taken them camping or anything like that?
I would love to, but I don't know how Layla would be.
Yeah, like would you think you could try it like Chase first?
Yeah, definitely.
Because he seems like he's very mellow. Like he'd be easy to take out, like to Whippoorwill for a weekend or something, and then go fishing.
Oh yeah, and he can hang. Him and I are a lot alike.
Right.
Like we'll get her to go to sleep, then he comes down, we'll sit down, we talk.
Yeah.
And he tells me all about school, or he'll draw something special, and got to take pictures of it, Nana.
Right.
He likes the one-on-one.
Yeah.
Where she likes to have everything going.
Yeah. When Cougar was on here a few weeks ago, he's kind of said that. He's like, she's in control. And she's like, if she doesn't like you, she doesn't like you. That's it.
I don't worry about her ever being picked on.
And he said that too. He said, like, she has this innate ability, like when she doesn't see something right, she's like, no, that guy scares me.
Mm-hmm.
And like something that ends up being creepy about that person or whatever. Yes. He goes, it's very weird. She has this ability to like read people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty cool.
She'll give you the look.
Yeah.
She don't like mom.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah. She's like...
She throws the shoe at mom.
Really? Yeah.
Mom yelled at her.
No, well, that's why.
Yeah, mom
can't say no to her.
No. And it was like, God, a year and a half ago.
Right. So she remembers.
She remembers.
So we went to a car show, and it was me, Coog, Chase, and Layla. And she got the biggest kick out of it. Like I'm gooful with her and whatnot. And I walked out of the car and back in the window, and she, she just loved it. Mm-hmm. So like I haven't had an interaction with her since then, but I'm sure she'll remember like by the end of that was.
She knows who you are.
Yeah.
Uncle George is your brother. Uncle George.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know it's so weird. Like me and Chase did a video on one of our reviews for French fries at the Valley, and I didn't even know what to call him. I'm like my super nephew. I mean. It's my nephew's son, so what is he? My great nephew? He's my super nephew. That's what he is. So it's pretty cool. I hope I can get him down to Poughkeepsie Speedway. I want him to get see that there's kids his age that race karts, and he could do that. He could really do that. It's a learning process,
Right.
But like me and Cougar have talked about it numerous times. I'm like, you got to get him there to make sure he wants to do that. If he wants to do it, then I think he'd excel at it because. He has a mind for when he likes something, he really concentrates on it.
And he focused straight on that.
Right.
Yeah.
So what else has been going on besides being a grandma and running around camping trips?
Got my knees done.
How'd that go?
The actual experience was horrible that you've mentioned. Mom's told you.
Yeah.
The first one was really horrible because I did not know what to expect.
Right.
And it delayed my I didn't have the pain medicine for 5 days, 5 days. And I could never catch up.
Right.
Oh, I was petrified, but did the second one. That one was a breeze, walk in the park, and I feel so much better.
Well, before you had him, you couldn't move.
I couldn't even walk.
Now that you had him, you came down the stairs here tonight, which is, comparatively, you couldn't do that before.
No, I couldn't walk to Boston's games at the field at the high school because I couldn't walk back there.
Right.
Oh, no way.
And now at least you have that ability to move around again. Mm-hmm. So that's good. I mean, it takes a little bit of time, but you can enjoy life again.
Oh, yeah. But what's weird is you can't kneel.
No, you can't kneel down.
No.
What's it, the pressure on it?
The pressure on the kneecap.
Oof.
You're supposed to teach yourself how to kneel on your shin. And I can't do that. I don't know how.
What do you... that's almost got to be half Indian style.
Yeah.
Right? It would have to be.
I don't know how you keep your knee off the ground.
Yeah, how do you keep your
kneecap? Shin is down.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
No. You must lean. I don't know.
Yeah, but your foot is under you, so that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Your foot points down and then your knee. So what would happen? You'd have to put your foot sideways and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean I can imagine that being painful.
Oof.
So, we're 10 minutes in and I saw your anxiety level come down.
Yeah.
You get settled in. It wasn't easy
rotten.
having me as a brother when wasn't.
No.
What's funny about this is this morning when I was getting ready to come to work and I knew we were doing this after, I'm like, not for nothing. You left when I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
So the interaction, it wasn't really a lot. I was just young little kid when you left.
You were 9 when I had Zach.
Right. And you were gone for years and I didn't see you. And then you came back and I'm like, and I went from being 6 to, 9.
Yeah.
Not that I'm ever tall, I'm just saying. So I was like, she can't even really complain about me. I was only 6.
No.
The majority of your life, you didn't live with me from the time I was 6. So the majority of my life, I tell people, I'm like, I got older sisters, but they're older. They're 10 and 12 years older. So for me, I was kind of like an only child from the time I was 10 or 11 on.
That's what I say. And I always say to people, it's me and my sister. Our brother is a lot younger than us.
Right.
You were like a totally separate family.
Yeah.
Because when you came around, got up to 10 years old, I was out. I had kids.
Right.
Or one.
And Wendy was married, so it was me.
Yeah.
So it was 2 totally different worlds. I'm like, there was a world, but it was very small for me, and then everything else was just me and then mom and dad separately, which were different than what you had.
Yes.
Yeah, and then there's some questions in here later. We'll get mom's toe. No, I'm only kidding. All right, so
nobody wants that.
No, so we were deciding what we would do for a top 5 this week, and we kick around all these different ideas, but then we came upon one thing we agreed on, which is pretty easy. Our whole family's big John Candy movie fans.
Okay.
So we'll roll into our top 5. This week's top 5, the top 5 John Candy movie scenes. Now, we did movie scenes because you could do movies, but, he is in a lot of things, but, what scenes really encapsulated what John Candy was to you? So we always go 5 to 1. If you ever have honorable mentions, you can write them down. Do you want to start first? Or do you want me to start first?
You start first.
All right. I'll go number 5. I got to go to my phone because I was doing these last night. Number 5, Del Griffith, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There's a specific scene, though. It's at the very end of the movie. Him and Steve Martin are there, and he says, you want to hurt me? Go right ahead if it makes you feel any better. I'm an easy target. You really felt for John Candy in that moment.
I went to cry.
Right. He's always the big, aloof, goofy guy, and you never saw the sensitive side of him. Like, hey, listen, it's okay. And it was a serious side that you never saw of John Candy.
Right.
And that's why it's probably one of the most impactful scenes, because you always remember he did have that ability in him, even though in every other movie he was just goofy.
Goofy. Yes.
So that was the big scene for me. That number 5, I'm like, you know what? He was truly an actor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I know they're actors, but when you're a comedic actor, they never take you seriously.
Right.
And even in that movie, he was funny as hell. But that scene, he got you emotional in that scene.
He did.
So that was my number 5. What's your number 5?
My number 5, a lot of mine have to do with anything comedy has to do with, I related to myself, my family, was in Only the Lonely.
Okay.
Where they're at the restaurant and she's going to meet, his mother's going to meet his girlfriend, Ali Sheedy.
Ali Sheedy. Yeah.
Ali Sheedy. And she comes in and the mother's like, where's the breast? Mom, don't say that. And the mother keeps it up. Well, she's flat-chested. What happened to her? And, and the girl sits down. He's saying the dress might be too big. And the girl sits down and, well, that's a nice dress, but it's a little too big, immediately right out of the gate. Yeah. It just, I don't know. His expressions, the way he handled it, what he had to deal with, that stress and anxiety. I know what that feels like. So I love that part of it. And that was like one of my first movies I've seen of him.
Right.
And I didn't really, it was all right. I didn't like him until a couple movies later. Yeah. As time went on.
Do you ever notice that when you get around like a certain actor or actress or whatever, there's certain times you'll watch something and you'll be like, and then you grow an appreciation for them as they go, more into movies, or you get older, a movie you didn't really care about, now you care about it. You're like, you know what? Because you see it from a different point of view. Right.
Yes.
You see it from the point of view of, oh my God, like I've dealt with that now, and now it makes sense,
Yeah.
All right, number 4, Uncle Buck. He's Uncle Buck. His interactions with the kids through that whole movie. He first comes down and Macaulay Culkin's little brother there interviews him. Who are you? Uncle Buck. Where are you from?
The 20 questions.
Yeah. And then he goes in and he fights with the principal who's arguing with the little niece, and he goes, here's a quarter, get that thing gnawed off your face.
That's my number 4.
Okay, so
exactly,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so cool. We got the same number 4. And then last but not least of that is when his daughter, not his daughter, when what's her name is
the
oldest one, Tina or something like that.
Tia
gets dumped by Bug.
Oh, Bug, yes.
Yeah, and she's driving and she's heartbroken, and he's like, "Listen, get in the car." And then he tells her, "I know I'm not easy to love. Like I'm doing this. I fucked up many times in my life. I'm doing this to help my brother and my sister. I'm trying to be there for the people who were always there for me and I was never there back for." Right. And he kind of explains that, and it's another one of those moments. He handled 2 of them with hilarity, and he handled them one with heart.
Right.
And that's why that scene and those movies, his specific scenes with the kids, or when he makes the pancake with the shovel. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what was my number 4. Same. So you had the same number 4?
Yes.
For
the
and
same also
reasons?
the part the one with the mold.
Yeah.
With the rat. He's saying he was called what they call him? Buck melanoma.
Yeah.
Buck melanoma.
Yeah.
But also when he pulls into the school with that car. With the girl's like, "Hold yours."
Yeah.
The kids are in the back. But bam. Yeah.
And he's
I love that part.
Bang. I'll be here to pick you up. And she's like, "You better not."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That whole interaction made it one of the greatest scenes for me, more appreciative of him now. You know what I mean? It was funny then, but now I appreciate it, like what the words.
And he won her over.
And he won her over.
Yeah, he won her over.
And now up to number 3. Number 3, easily, and if it's on yours higher on the list, you just tell me. Chet Ripley, Great Outdoors, the old 96er.
I have Great Outdoors, but not that.
Okay, so the old 96er, he goes there. They go out for a steak dinner because his brother-in-law Dan Aykroyd's like, "This shit's lips and assholes, hot dogs and whatever." So they go out for a steak dinner, and he goes, "I'll try the old 96er." And it starts off, he's like, "Ah." But by the end, there's all gristle and fat in there, and he's like, "Hey, there's not but gristle and fat in there." Steak. The guy's like, "Yeah." So he's got to eat it. He goes, "So will you throw in some T-shirts and hats for the kids if we get it?" And then it took years of watching that to realize when they come back in, they all got T-shirts and hats. Yeah. So he got a dessert in them too. Oh. If I get a dessert down, and you got some hats and T-shirts for the kids,
Yep.
And by the end of that, he's like, "Oh no!"
Yes.
96-ounce steak.
Yeah, that one was huge.
Yeah, and then he gets in there and he's like, "Look at the maggots on that meat." And gets sick.
Yeah, he was always getting them.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie, start to finish, but that particular scene was one of my favorite scenes. Mm-hmm. Your number 3?
My number 3 is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The day after, they're in the motel after they caught the car on fire.
Yeah, my butt looks like a big whopper.
And he's sitting in the car, and they're stuck, and Steve Martin's trying to push him out.
Yeah.
He's like, "We got a rocket. We got a rocket." They go back into the snowbank, into the actual motel window.
Yeah.
Take up. The cop pulls them over. Yeah. Our speedometer's melted.
Yeah. They got their ear flaps down.
Big wheels of Kentucky. Keep on rolling. Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah,
I really like that part.
That's a hilarious scene. I have another scene from that kind of car ride higher on my list, but that was your number 3.
My number 3. What I did want to say about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, when I went back and tried to think of parts, a lot of it was what he did to Steve Martin. Mm-hmm. Steve Martin actually had the funny part, but it was what John Candy led him up to.
What instigated it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's my number 1 too. So, all right, my number 2 is he's Jack Chester's Summer Rental. And like you said earlier, it's something that reminds you of you or something that's happened to you. The opening scene where he's dragging all the shit across the sand on the beach, and his feet are on fire, and he's got every water wing, the cooler, every fucking thing. While the kids and the wife have run to the beach. I've lived that life. And you're dragging, you got everything.
And he was sunburned.
And sunburned to all hell. And then by the time he gets set up, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sits there, he's like, all right, Dad, we're going. It's like, what the hell? I just walked 700 miles across hot lava here.
Yeah. And I think he carried a kid.
Yeah, he carried a kid.
A little one. Yep.
Yeah. Because of hot. He's got to, and then the tubes, the water wing, everything.
Yeah.
So then you get set up, and then it's time to go.
Time to pack up.
Yep.
Yeah. Beaches aren't for me. I don't like that.
I love Cape Cod, but I go early in the morning and be out by noon.
Yeah.
I'm not like midday.
No crowds and sitting out there baking yourself.
I like going, get there early in the morning, kind of relax, take it in by like noon, 1 o'clock. I'm out. Yeah. I don't want to be there all day. Mm-hmm. I can't do an all day thing.
No, me either.
We don't do good in the sun.
No, exactly.
We're very pale and we burn. So, What was your number 2?
My number 2 was Great Outdoors. Where they're gonna the whole family's gonna go on horseback.
Okay.
And his horse bites him right off the bat. Then they're all sitting there like, where is he? Oh, that was such a lovely ride. Da, 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 da. All of a sudden, out of the woods, here he comes.
Here he comes.
With the horse.
Yeah.
He's not on the horse. He's dragging it. His lips are stuck up here.
Yeah.
He's all sweating.
Yeah. He's all pissed off. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I can't even speak.
Okay, and then my number 1, he's Del Griffith. Okay. It leads to the car fire. Mm-hmm. When he's in the seat and he's doing the mess around. Mm-hmm. Everybody doing the mess around. He's got the cigarette and he's playing. Yeah. And he's all fucked up. And it just, everything about that scene, if you remember how it started prior to that, was he was going to take a nap.
Yes.
And he's in the chair. And then poor Steve Martin's going all the way down. He can't. And then it ends up going, you're going the wrong way because he's playing the piano. Yeah, you're drunk. Yeah. And it turns into the car being on fire.
Yes.
And that's ultimately.
Because he flicks the cigarette and goes in the back seat.
Right in the back. Yeah. So that's ultimately like my favorite. That's John Candy in a nutshell.
Yeah.
There was some, and you can go through your number 1, and then I did have some honorable mentions.
Okay. My number 1, and this will always be my number 1, is on Summer Rental.
Yeah.
And it's in the beginning. He's coming out to the car to go to work before he gets, kicked out.
Yeah.
Tell him to take a vacation. And he's walking around the back of the car and he nails his shin on the on the
toe hitch.
Yeah. And he's just like, oh. The reason why is it reminds me of Dad. Dad used to do stuff like that all the time. You couldn't laugh.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you do that hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but like from that movie on, I was like a big fan of his.
You know why?
Because
that probably made him human to you. Like that related you to Dad. Like there was a lot. I think that's why we love him. Because there was a lot of them that was Dad.
He got sunburnt on that. We all get sunburned.
The happy parts of Dad, he was happy. But the crazy parts, he was that crazy.
Yeah.
Or crazier.
Right.
Like you'd see him with the salt shaker. Lips and assholes. Like I'm going to wrap you in the head with this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what he always was.
Yes.
A couple of the honorable mentions I had. One of the big ones was when him and Eugene Levy did the Security Guard movie.
Delirious?
Armed and Dangerous.
Armed and Dangerous, yes.
And he dressed up in drag.
Yes.
And they went to the thing and he says, show him the map. And he's like, I'm not showing him the map. And he bends Eugene Levy over and the map's in his, he's like, right here. He basically puts his finger up his ass.
Oh,
you almost forget that he was in that. Who's Harry Crumb? There was a lot of funny movies in that. Like he had tons of different like he had hair on his head, and then he drops it, and on the ladies, like so it looks like she's got a bush, and then he puts it on as a beard. So he went from having an afro to a beard. He had a lot of funny movies. He was in Stripes, another good movie.
Yes.
So like he had this ability to him, cool runnings. He had this ability to really pull things out of him. JFK.
Now that you would never think he could play.
And that was a serious role, and he played like a Southern.
He was a criminal or something.
Yeah, but he was like, he had this like he talked
senator or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, he talked like he was from the Bayou or something.
Yeah,
he had this real draw to him, and you almost forget it because it's not John Candy in that.
Right.
In the aspect.
That's why I would never thought. I wouldn't have remembered.
Like a lot of people don't realize that he had a cartoon in the '80s that I think Zach watched, Camp Candy.
Camp Candy. Yes.
Right. Like you think about this, and you're like, holy shit, he really did do a lot.
Mm-hmm. Back he was in Home Alone.
Home Alone, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and he played like a different version of that guy.
Person or something.
Yeah, the Polka Kings,
yeah.
But he was very big with John Hughes. John Hughes loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And John Hughes did Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Home Alone. He just had this scene,
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool. Like, John Candy was one of those guys that he was only 43 when he died.
I know.
And it's weird because, I don't know if you feel like this, but wait, when you're younger and somebody's older than you, do you always like just feel like, they were older? now we're past 43.
Yeah.
I'm like, Christ, he was young.
Yeah.
But he always just felt like, he was older.
He was older. Yeah. I didn't think he was 43.
Me neither. I thought he would have been probably in his late 50s when he died, and he was 43. That's young. But that goes to show you how long ago he was. Splash. He was in Splash.
Yes.
With Tom Hanks. So, you're thinking like 40 years ago, he was in movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I think it started in the 80s. Didn't he start 81 was his first movie?
Yeah, probably 80, 81. Then they had that movie Canadian Bacon. He had different
Wagons
movies.
West.
Wagons West was, I think it was his last movie was Wagons West.
Either that or Canadian Bacon, then Wagons West. Yeah. Yes, I think he died while they were doing that.
One of those, he died in the process of.
Right.
So, I mean, but overall, I mean, that was a fun top 5 to do.
Yes.
It was tough, and it gets you laughing thinking about the dumb shit that he did. Mm-hmm. Like, you could watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles almost any day and still crack up to today, knowing. Like when he was like, where's your hand? Between two pillows? They're not pillows. Or he tries them with his underwear.
In the
what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And that was a good tag team. I wish they would have done another movie.
What, like...
like kind of Abbott and Costello. Yeah, like David Spade and Chris Farley. Like I would have loved to see Steve Martin do another one with John Candy.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That was a cool combo at the time, and I think they missed the opportunity to make another version.
Right.
But
I'm surprised you didn't mention the guy getting hit in the head with the lightning
66 times. It's
funny. That was going to be his favorite.
Well, it is funny, but it wasn't like a John Candy scene. But his reaction to that. 66 times. Jesus Christ. Oh, good God.
That's what I mean. I love his facial expressions and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I could just laugh at him looking at him.
Yeah. Or how about at the end of Great Outdoors when they're all dancing? And he's like, No. He's not dancing, but he makes it funny.
Yes.
Another one that was close to making my list that didn't was in the Great Outdoors when he's like trying to show him, hey, you pull the rope. What do you do? There's trouble. Let go of the rope. And he's like, and then fucking Roman just revs it and he takes off and he's water skiing up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you crack up over John Candy. He's fucking hilarious. Mm-hmm. All right. Good top 5. Yes. We'll move along to, I got to turn this one down. That's loud. Mm-hmm. All right, 5 crazy questions sponsored by Scalable Computers, presented by Gmac. All right, number 1. If you could go back in time to when you were 18, leaving high school, and pick a new career, what would it be?
A detective.
I knew you were going to say that.
A detective. I have to live by the law.
Yeah.
I definitely would.
At the time, you probably didn't think about it, and then now you do.
Oh, my God. I never wanted something so much, but I'm 60 almost,
right. Well, you could still be a private detective.
That would be fun, too.
You could. You go and take pictures of people having,
affairs or people that fell and their that kind of stuff.
I think BOCES actually has that course.
Really?
Yeah. I do. It's like there's a photography. There's just different methods of whatever. But, I mean, why could you not?
Sure.
You could do it part-time, just something to just do.
Mm-hmm.
So you would go back and be a detective?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. I figured you would. You'd be.
I did take in high school a course called Law and Order. Did they have that when you were in school?
If they did, I wanted no part of it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
But I never thought of being a cop, or police, or driving the car.
But that's part of it.
I'd want to be the detective that goes out and finds the answer. The detective part of it.
Yeah.
Right? That's a totally different area. But you have to do the whole police thing.
You do have to do the police thing, but you can specialize in that, like in bigger forces, I think. Like you can kind of, when you go to college for it, it's different than if you just go in, in a standard academy. All right, number 2. This one's a good one.
Okay.
Would you rather hit a bee's nest with a wiffle ball bat and have to stand there, or hold the flashlight for Dad when he was mad? Because you're getting stung either way.
Yeah.
It's whether
I'd rather do the bees.
I think me too.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
I'd rather
not afraid of the bees.
Yeah, I'll hit that fucking bee's nest 100 times out of 100. If Dad's mad with the and you're holding the flashlight for him,
not good.
No,
No.
It's going to hurt worse than any bee sting that you're about to get.
Yes.
People are like,
that's a bad lumping.
Yeah. And we were always holding some fucking flashlight for some shit that broke down.
Yes.
You're
Hold
like
it
this.
Still.
Right. You're just like this. You didn't move it. And then he'd get up, crack. You didn't move them. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, I deserve it. I'm out there playing Star Wars. I'm out there like I'm Luke Skywalker. Lights nowhere near where he's looking.
I used to be always young. Me and Woody be busting around.
Yeah.
Not even shining where we're supposed to.
Yeah.
I always had her there to bug it up.
And then he want to kill you.
Yeah.
He want to kill you. All right. All right. This one's a good one. If you could go back to one crime scene in history, any one crime scene, and either prove or disprove the innocence of somebody, which crime scene would you choose?
You already know the answer, George.
I do. Well, I don't know because there's a bigger one. But ultimately, you're going to come out and you're going to be like this. This is the evidence that this person's. It could go the other way for you, though. You could go there and go, "Fuck, they really did do it."
I don't know.
Mine would be OJ's.
This is tearing my heart because I think that's where my mind went immediately. OJ, but I'd want to know who really killed Teresa Hallback at this point.
I know you're a big part with the Avery and the Dassey.
Yeah.
I know that. I know you're big on that. So I'm like, well, which does she pick? Because I mean, if you're just sitting on Brentwood, and all you got to do is just be at the right spot that day with a camera, you would know. Like, there's got to be some way you just know.
Right.
Like that's the
ultimate.
No.
Yes.
But then I was like, does she go to Dassey and Avery? And again, you sit there and you know one way or another.
Right.
But just to know, because that's the thing. You can think, you can feel, you can, but you don't know.
You don't know.
But like, which one would you have to go to just to know, 100% know? Like OJ's the famous one. The other one's like
I know. I'd have to do Avery and Dassey. I want to see what really happened to that girl.
Right. And if it did happen, like shame on you for, proclaiming. Like if they really did do it, shame on you for proclaiming all this time. And if they didn't do it,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where's the cover up? Mm-hmm. And here's the thing that we don't talk about it like that. And you've gone out and you've gone to the rally and stuff. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing that's this poor girl's family. Like if they did do it, okay, they did it. But if they really are standing by, they did not do this.
Right.
What's this poor girl's family going through? Because people always forget, like, she's the person that was murdered, this Hallback girl.
Sure.
So people, they're so quick to be like, hey, these guys need to come off, or Manitoba County is terrible. How about the girl that lost her life? Like,
but if you were a parent and your child was murdered, supposedly murdered, wouldn't you? And these two people have been in jail for 18 years almost.
Right.
And we're completely innocent. Right. Wouldn't you have some doubt, like maybe they didn't do it?
Yeah, of course.
They gave you back bones, supposedly of your daughters, that they can't even say are human bones. So
right.
Why give it back? For sentimental reasons, I said, which they took the evidence away from Stephen's case doing that. So now we can't test these bones.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I would want to know what actually really did happen to my daughter.
Well, 100% you want to know.
And I'd want to know who did it. Because, and then to sit in a courtroom
but they may
listen to two different theories.
Right. But they may seriously believe, like, hey, listen, no, these are the guys.
I think they straight up do believe. I think the cops and the whole thing led them to truly believe Stephen and Brendan did it.
Right.
And they're not going to question it. They're just going to move on and remember Teresa.
Yeah.
I just wish they would take a look at it. Well, yeah, it's probably a way
that they have closure.
Right. We got our daughter back. That's what we're worried about. They're in there.
Right.
But I wish that mom would sit back and think. He also has a mother. And you sat in his trial. And they accused him of killing Teresa. And they also accused Stephen of killing him.
Right.
Both. How could they both do it in different things? This one stabbed her.
This one
shot her in the head.
Right.
And then all the other stuff,
Yeah. Right. And then you don't have whatever substantial evidence. You didn't get your kid back. You didn't get her body back. You didn't get whatever.
You could have chicken bones out of Dolores's garbage.
Yeah.
I hate to be disrespectful, but you never even had pictures of the crime scene where these bones were, supposedly.
Right.
I went to the trailer. That fire pit was like literally right next to a gas tank, huge. And the trailer,
when you guys went up there, you actually went to where the thing was? Or
yeah,
what?
You could go down to the property. We saw Steven's trailer, the garage, where you couldn't walk over there, but you stood there. It was very close. Very close.
Really?
And Bobby and the
where they said that the car was hidden, it was like you could just see it.
Oh hell no. I don't know how she ever found that in the back, because you had to go past the salvage yard, the actual building, all the way to the back of the property the opposite way. And
then just magically this car was just randomly
right there, and she found.
So you'd want to know. Minutes. So you'd want to know.
Yes,
that's the one. I would just sit on Brentwood. And I would be like,
see, I'm sure OJ didn't do it.
Well, that's why we always had this discussion. You and I have had this theory since the 90s. And it's only just getting legs now that the son Jason did it.
Yes. And I've always said that, haven't I?
And the way he reacted when OJ was not guilty. So the big thing for me with that is basically, really, could OJ have been there? He could have showed up.
He could have showed up
to protect his kid.
I believe that. And I believe that's why he took off, too. Because he was put in that spot, like, what do I do? My kid did this. They're blaming me.
Right.
Like, I got to think of something. And
he was already leaving.
Oh, he left and came back. But when he did the chase in the Bronco, and who runs up to the car when he gets home was Jason.
His son,
Jason, yeah.
Yeah. Though there was a lot of, circumstantial stuff there.
Yeah.
But I would just sit there and be like, okay, so who really did it? Now, if all of a sudden you see the Bronco pull up and both of them get out, you're like, fuck. Well, there it is. You just need that, one person to have a snapshot. Whether it proves you right or wrong, it doesn't matter. I would just, you have to have that clarity.
Right.
That would be the one I picked. I'd be like, yep. Mm-hmm. Hey, guys, click. Gotcha. There it is.
That's true.
Then you come to find out you don't.
I'd be so heartbroken. Well, not heartbroken. I'd be how did I not get that?
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking yo, Dad, I fucked up. And then he came over to.
I think OJ knew he was pissed. I think he called him saying how pissed he was at Nicole for canceling that dinner reservation. I think OJ just put it together oh, he's gonna go off. Didn't he take his truck? Didn't he use his Blazer too? Mm-hmm. Not that night though, was it?
No, prior.
But I think OJ knew his temper.
Yeah.
Thinking, I'm going to go there, stop this, or intervene, and it was already taking place.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. That was brutal. You don't want to walk in on it, but.
Right.
And it's funny. Highland and I in a previous show said, if you could go back and do it, and I always say I would go back and just hang out. Mm-hmm. There's parts of you, you can't change history, so you got to stand there. So that would kill you, right?
Yeah,
because you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, I can't tell this guy with his sunglasses that you probably don't want to go ring that doorbell right now.
Put them on the steps. And walk away, buddy. Yeah.
That would be the worst thing possible. You get dragged back in time, but you can't change it.
Right.
They'd have to put I don't know. I'd have to flash my headlights at him or something.
Some kind of
But then he turns around and now fucking butterfly effect. Mm-hmm. You don't know what happens.
Right. Everything could change in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so you're going with Dacia. Dacia.
I'd say Dacia.
Okay.
Avery, yeah.
All right. Number 4. What did you admire most about mom and dad? At any point in your life, you get back to a certain point when you became a parent yourself, when you were a kid, whatever. What do you most admire about mom and dad?
Well, at the end there, I lived with both of them.
Yep.
And being a kid and being an adult, it's different. What would crack me up is however long, they've been together as long as I'm alive, but what cracked me up is they'd have their little bickers and screw you and this, that when she walks through and in. Yeah. I'd go in the other room and then they'd be laughing their asses off.
Yeah.
It's like they totally got each other.
Yep.
They rubbed each other the wrong way whenever they felt like it, but at the end of the day, we're just going to laugh about it.
Yeah.
And they had it hard in the beginning.
Yep.
all the way through.
Yeah, they really did.
They really did.
They really did. But and even when they got a chance to get a breather and get a little, they still didn't. They fucking, we got a new car. We went on a vacation. They helped me with my race car. They put up the, these things like that's just how they lived. But that's what I admired about them because even though we didn't grow up with money, you never felt like there was enough love to go around.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you always made do. We always had heat. At any point in time, you could go to mom and dad's. Well, no, I didn't either. But I mean, there was times where we had the kerosene heaters or people had to come turn the water on. I remember those things or heat and water. Remember the dad's army jugs with the water?
The cowboy vest. We used to have to take heat and the water on the stove.
On the stove, right.
Yes.
So you
But I never considered it a bad childhood.
No, never.
Never.
But what I think I admire most about them is it made me resilient to life. Like when shit gets thrown sideways, I can survive. So that part of it, like I always admired that about them. Like you said, they always found good in shitty situations.
Right.
And you get to a point and you're like, you know what? If I can just have that part of it, just that part of it where at the end of the day, mom would drive him nuts. Like how dad stayed quiet as long as he did, it blows my mind. Because he just sat there. And I explain this to a lot of people, and you'll understand it because we lived it. If this bottle cap didn't go on this bottle correctly, Dad would fire this thing through a fucking window. It was a piece of shit. It wasn't worth fixing anyway. But you could go to him with the biggest problem, and he was the calmest. Hey, we'll get through it. It's no big deal.
He used to shock me at stuff like that.
It's like the bigger and I think what it was is in his brain, this should just go on there and it shouldn't be a problem.
Right. And
when it didn't, it annoyed him to no end. Like this is simple. Right. This should not be a problem. But it's a fucking problem. And 90 miles an hour through the window it would go. And now you got two problems. Now you got a broken window and the thing's not fixed.
Right.
But he didn't give a shit. He'd just go fix the window after. Or he'd put a board there and we'd have plywood for the next fucking 5 years.
A little tape.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? But then you'd go to him with like, hey, Dad, I'm in a real bad spot. Yeah. We'll figure it out. And that was his calm. Where Mom would go, let me take a look at this. Okay, here, we're going to fix it. And get this. And you go to Mom with a medium problem. She'd be like, oh my God, the world's falling in. We're going to lose everything. And I'm like, we got nothing. What do we lose?
I know. Yes.
So that's how they balanced each other.
They did.
And, it's that's why I admire a lot about that and them and their life together. It wasn't easy.
No.
It wasn't easy. And they rubbed each other the wrong way all the time. But like you said, the laughter and they'd have fun and they enjoyed each other's company as much as they annoyed each other.
Right. And I think they enjoyed doing stuff for us.
Yes.
And once we had our families, they loved it even more.
Yep.
Like, with your girls.
Yeah, we get packages in Tennessee.
Heck yeah.
The kids were 2 and 3 years old and knew Mr. Jeff by first name because he brought him so many damn packages to the door.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Grandma and Pop sent you another package, girls. Oh, thanks, Mr. Jeff. So,
Mom going to the boys' every baseball game.
She's never missed anything. No. She'll be at Boston's game Saturday.
Yeah.
She doesn't miss.
No.
And that's
Troy and Tanner stuff, Yeah,
you admire all of it.
Does that, yeah. She's very into family.
Yep. All right, and number 5. If you could meet/hang out with anyone in history, alive or dead, who would it be?
Alive or dead.
Yeah, I mean, you could go have a drink with him. You could just hang out with him again now. You could go have dinner, whatever. Alive or dead, you could just go meet anybody at all. And don't say Chris Christopherson, because I remember being a kid and you having that guy on your wall, and I'm like,
oh, I loved him.
And even being a kid, I'm like, isn't that fucking guy old?
He was as old as Dad.
Really?
Yes. He's still alive. Oh my God, sexy man.
I remember him having like a big beard, like a gray beard back then was a
Stars Born.
Stars Born.
He was in Stars Born. Highland was always mad because he got the part over Elvis.
Oh, okay.
Yes. No, it wouldn't be him. I'd probably want to sit and talk with Melissa Etheridge.
Yeah?
Yep.
Like, because she went through a lot of shit. Like, her coming out in the 90s isn't like coming out today.
Right. Definitely not.
You know what I mean? And then to become world famous, like, she was a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, and she never was in your face about it.
Nope.
She was like, "Listen, I'm gay. I'm gay. It is what it is." But she wasn't like beating down doors, going, "Hey, listen to me."
Right. No.
She sang. She expressed herself through her music, and she'd
be
interesting.
She went through cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
She'd be interesting to talk to. Definitely, for sure. That's a good answer.
That would be somebody I'd want to talk with.
Yeah.
Have a drink with, like, hey, how'd you learn how to play the guitar?
Right.
Like, she seems so cool and laid back. Like, that she'd be really honest.
Right.
Like, you could tell by her music she'd be honest. I don't know, the songs she sings.
Yeah.
Because if you go to a concert of hers, she usually talks in between songs.
Okay.
And she'll tell you, like, this was when I was going through this, or this is what happened to me back then, and I came up with this part of this song.
I was battling whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or going through this relationship. Yeah, whatever And the thing with her, where she had the kids with, oh, God.
I don't know.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Okay, yep.
She had David Crosby, I think it is. She had kids with him. Well, his sperm.
Right, yeah.
So I think that's real interesting. I'd like to, talk to her.
I would probably do like George Washington, like now, like
really?
now, just like now.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're sitting down now, having like a beer, hanging out, and just be like, being like, did you ever expect it to be like this? You know what I mean? Like, just to have the conversation. This is the world today. When you guys fought for this, did you ever expect it to be like this?
Not like this.
Do you think he'd be like, why the fuck are you guys paying all these taxes? We fought to not have all these taxes.
Right.
You know?
He would be just looking around like in awe, like, what the hell?
Well, you think, like, there's something we never really discussed. We've never discussed. It's weird. Think of Nana's life. She was born in 1906. What she lived through, what she saw, like a plane fly for the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
the TV.
The Great Depression. Yeah. World War I, World War II. You know what I mean?
The cars.
Right.
And she
like
never
when she first started off, it was like horse and buggy, for Christ's sake. You don't think about it, and and that's one of those things. Like you don't respect time, so you don't ask the right questions.
Right.
To say like, oh my God, what you lived through, like in her lifetime, from 1906 to 1995, 96. It was just before her birthday. Think of what happened in them years. You know that she got to see in her lifetime. The creation of TV, all the way up to home box movies, and on and on and on. You know, so it's pretty wild. But color TV after TV,
exactly. Yeah, she was pretty up on everything.
Yeah, and they traveled.
She liked yes.
They went to like Paris and stuff. Did they not? Yeah, like it's wild.
Up there in like the Union and the welding and all that. So he traveled a lot.
Right, but I remember her always having tickets to like where she went in her books. Yeah. And you'd be like, wow.
Steal them. Or well, I don't know if she stole the matchbooks or the napkins from the place. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's wild to see like what kind of a length of life she had and what was in it. You know, but that's cool. So Melissa Etheridge. All right. Yes. On to our final segment. We have done this before. Over and under. All right. Number 1, tuna casserole.
That's underrated.
I agree. Underrated. You make a great tuna casserole.
You can kick that stuff up. I know.
I said that.
I think you're the only one that likes my tuna casserole.
It's awesome. It was always awesome. You did an awesome job. And I do agree. It's underrated. It's not something you're going to eat every week.
Right.
But if you get it once or twice a year, that's awesome.
Yes.
And it's good.
That's fresh, yeah.
Number 2, photo books, photo albums.
Oh, they're definitely underrated.
Underrated. Like, you don't do them anymore.
No.
The last one I did a father-son trip. Me in Boston, went to Florida, Daytona 500, the whole deal. I did a book for him. It's probably one of the best things. He still looks back through them.
Yeah.
So I want to do one with his car now that we're doing. I want to take all the pictures, print them out, and then start a book.
You should do a scrapbook.
So, yeah, like a scrapbook, a whole photo album for him and the car. You know, so you say underrated for photo albums too? I do too. Because these kids today, everything's in your phone, but when you get rid of that phone, you don't have it anymore.
Exactly.
So then we're very physical. Like we wanted newspapers and you had to hold this.
And I want to read a book on the Nook and all that stuff. Yeah.
Case in point, I'm trying to talk to him about Woodstock 94. Thank God you have the pictures still.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the pictures, you're like, how do you remember? You know you're not remembering that.
Right.
But then when you start looking at the pictures, like, oh my God, that's right. We were out, we camped at the tent right here on the hill. You know what I mean? And you could go through. All right, number 3. Lilacs.
They're underrated too.
They're not overpowering.
Nope.
And
there's such a short window of time that they're only out.
I know, and they're an ugly fucking bush though. Otherwise,
yes.
Like when they're on, they're like, yeah, but then when they're out, you're like,
yeah.
Why do I get this ugly bush in the yard? But that little bit of time that they're there, they smell beautiful.
Oh,
and they look nice and they smell nice.
Yes, yes.
Underrated. I agree. Number 4, Chinese food.
That's overrated.
Overrated?
Yeah.
If you have really good Chinese food, it's like I said, it was underrated when I came home from London because it was terrible, and you appreciate it.
Right.
But yeah, overall, I don't eat it nearly like I used to. I'm like, I can take it or leave it at times.
That's how I am. Yeah.
So you're right. It's overrated.
Overrated. Yeah.
All right, and number 5, painting. Like painting, anything, painting, but like paint by numbers, painting in general.
Underrated.
You're a painter.
Yeah.
Like I've brought you in the paint journey in Summer's rooms up when it was Bell and the towers and all that. Mm-hmm. You always love painting. Is that like a?
That's like a therapy for me.
I was gonna say, is that therapeutic for you?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, do you paint anything on the side? I mean, do you paint?
I paint like when we were in COVID there.
Yeah.
I painted birdhouses.
Yeah.
For every holiday. So I just decorate
like a 4th of July.
Yeah, 4th of July, a Thanksgiving, a Halloween,
right.
St. Patty's Day.
For a while, you were painting rocks too.
I was doing the rocks.
Yeah. Now, do you ever do like an Etsy shop and sell any of that stuff?
No.
You should, because I mean, people like that.
That's
stuff.
what Wendy said. I should do something.
Like you put up an Etsy shop, and you say if somebody fucking orders, they're a rock with whatever the welcome or whatever you put on. Mm-hmm. What do you care? It's a fucking rock. You just take your
rocks
time.
Are heavy to ship.
Yeah, well, you factor that in.
So then I was like, well,
the price.
Maybe I could do the birdhouses.
Right.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Even if you painted them and they had to assemble them.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? So like they still feel like they're doing something, but they're getting a birdhouse that's
going to be painted.
Painted, yeah. That's cool. So yeah, I underrated. That's good. Mm-hmm. So what'd you think? It wasn't too bad.
Not bad at all.
Pretty quick. Like I told you, once you start. The cameras go away, the mics go away, everything goes away. Mm. It's not bad. No. You did good. You did good. Were you nervous?
You were
nervous.
Yeah.
You're nervous. I'm sure we're going to take shit from Mom over this one.
Oh, probably.
I
don't know why he means that.
I don't know what you said that for.
Yeah.
You guys had a great life. We were millionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mom. Woo. Yeah.
Well, I don't know why she thinks that. She shouldn't.
No, listen, there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
But like I always tell Mom, if the fucking, like when COVID happened and people started bugging out, I'm like, we're survivors. That was nothing.
We know how to do it. Yeah,
we know how to figure it out.
Boil the water, wash ourselves. Yeah, we know what we're doing.
Right. We can make do.
Light a candle.
Yeah. We figure it out.
Exactly.
And you know what? There's something to be said about
car because of that.
Right.
Yeah, I have an idea. Like, that's a flat, or we're the oil or whatever. You have somewhat of an idea if you go through hard times.
You do, and I think if you've never gone through them, that's when people really collapse.
Yeah.
They don't understand how to survive.
Right. Yeah.
Like I can survive on ramen noodles and hot dogs and mac and cheese. Some people will be like, "Oh my God, I'm going to die."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Man, that's a great Thursday night. What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
No, so it's good. I'm glad you came on. I'm glad you had fun. Would you do it again if we do a like a conspiracy show?
Be a good one.
We got some guys. We got more than just guys. We got some people that really are into conspiracies. A famous rock musician.
Oh.
He's into it big time. So we're trying to put together like a real like JFK, the moon landing, like a whole to have all these different inputs.
Okay.
Where you'll be able to do that from your computer, where we can do like 6 or 8 all at once and just do a live show where people can chime in.
Yep.
So you'd be interested in coming back? All right. Yeah. So we'll break it down and we'll get out of here. For Gmac and Robin, this is the Outlaw Blitz podcast. And as Winnie always says,